I'll record now. So my apologies. Haven't done this in a
No
while.
worries. Coach, in regards to South Florida, obviously you guys played them really tough when you guys hosted them a few weeks ago. What did you kind of take away from that game, and how can you use that in this upcoming matchup against the Bulls?
Yeah, offensively, we were inefficient. You know, we went back and looked at our shot selection. Um, just to give you an example, we were 2 for 18 on shots that wasn't threes and that were outside of the paint. If it wasn't a three and it was outside of the paint, we were 2 for 18 on really good looks. On really good looks because they didn't deny us. They come up and contested some of them and some of them they didn't. And that was the difference in the game for us when you start talking about that, because they took the same shots and they made them and we didn't. We took care of the basketball. I think we had 8 or 9 turnovers. We forced them into turnovers. We gave up some like we normally do. But again, those opportunities to be able to make those open shots was the difference in the game. We have some breakdowns defensively, but I thought we made a good effort to be able to recover from. And we also put them in some situations where they were uncomfortable. And we got to continue to do that. We got to take care of Dulcie, who, dominated us on the glass. She just went and got every single rebound. So we got to put a body on her every single time. So just those small things like that we're looking at the second time around, that we know we got to rebound better and we got to make some shots.
Coach, how was Layla doing and how Tierra doing? Are they healthy now?
Yeah. They both practiced yesterday, our first day back after having a couple of days off, 3 days off. And they both look really good. So we're expecting them to be in full rotation today when we practice against our guys and get to going again.
Coach, if I could follow up in regards to that USF matchup, like you mentioned, a shot inside the three, but outside the paint, you guys were 2 for 18. Really, how can you guys be more consistent on offense? It's kind of because you guys have been great defensively. It's kind of been that offense that's kind of hindered you guys at times.
Yeah. We have to stay out of we're trying to guess stuff. Usually we have some scores, and what you run into with scores, I know you've seen this a lot, is, they want to isolate sometimes and be able to go and play and things like that, and everybody else standing around watching. So we have to stay out of those kind of moments. And Layla and Tierra, who can also make plays in those areas, I think we'll be more efficient if we move the basketball and we get into it from that. But when we come down and we swing the ball a couple of times and end up in their hands, and we don't know what to do the next thing, or they decide they want to go and try to get a bucket this time, is where we get into them being on one page and then the team being on another page. So I got to do a better job of putting them in situations to be successful, understanding, getting our point guard to be able to call things that we have to call and be able to go and flow into what we need to flow in. And then I also got to find those moments where Tierra and Layla can have those opportunities to be themselves as well. So I got to find that balance, and that's on me.
Coach, how has Taylor Purvis helped in conference play for the team?
Taylor got a game ball after the Temple game. And we give out those game balls for, whoever plays well and do those things. It's not all about points. It's key moments. You're a glue player. You come in and play great defense. You could be a great person on the bench just cheering, and it's just all about that energy. But Taylor has come in and just given us some redefined what's the word, aggression at the point guard spot, because now we can put her on our point guard and she can be able to get some pressure on that and kind of be the head of the snake for us. And on the offensive end, it allows Tierra and Layla to play off the ball, where they don't have to play on the ball and be able to dominate on the ball as well. She can get everything going as well. So the thing we've always worried about with Taylor was turning the ball over and then not making good decisions down the stretch. But we saw that in the Temple game and in the Tulane game. She's starting to be able to put those things together, especially getting fouled and going, I think, 6 for 6 down the stretch in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game against Temple, which were very huge for us. We need to be able to count on her for that. And, it's just simple as having a conversation on the bench with her. You're junior now. These moments you have seen, and you have opportunity to be in those moments in non-conference. You have to be able to grow and make better decisions from those. And she responded very well.
Coach, how important is it for Bria Patterson when she does get the ball for her to be aggressive and in those situations?
You know, we started out when I talked to her before we played Cincinnati. You have to take at least 10 or 12 shots, Bria, to be, aggressive, to be able to measure. She needs a measurement every game. She's such a mother hen to make sure we do everything right defensively, and we got to move the ball around and get everybody in these positions and all that kind of stuff that she forgets about herself sometimes. So we have to have her come out and be aggressive. So the one thing she's trying to get used to is when I call sets for her, just because she doesn't like to be the main vocal point, just like Tatiana. They just want to make sure everybody does everything right so they can try to be in the best position for us to win because they're so selfless. And when you have 10 or 12 kids like that on the floor, you're always going to be successful because they care about other people. And now we try to get them to be more aggressive. I mean, even Tatiana, I know you didn't say anything about her yet, scoring around the basket, having all those looks, the Temple game. And she came over to me, but I don't have to shoot it every time. I was like, no, you don't. But they're just standing up there and you 2 feet from the basket. If you just settle down and you'll be able to make it, because we're going to pass it out and we're going to shoot a 25-footer. So I'll take my chances with you down there. It's okay. They're kind of uncomfortable in those positions. So you got to keep getting them to understand that it's the betterment of the team, that you have to come out and be aggressive and be able to do what's necessary for us to be successful.
Coach, just what are your thoughts on the consistency that Coach Hernandez, Coach Jose has done at South Florida over these years?
Man, we talk about it a lot, especially my friends and I, just because we've seen Jose at his worst. When I was at Rutgers and he was struggling, trying to get these teams to play, and he was constantly losing. And, there was always the rumor mill that the South Florida job was coming open, or Jose's interviewing here, he's trying to get out of there and all that kind of stuff. And now to see where he is now, it's tremendous. He was one of the first people when I got this job to be able to send me so much stuff to help me get organized, to understand what it means to be a head coach and how to sit in the seat. And just to see where he is right now, it's just tremendous, especially when you talk about passing Gino, what we already know about Gino as a Hall of Famer and American, and the type of run that they had in this conference. For Jose to come up and pass that, you just have to give him his flowers now, because again, and he's not done. He's not done by any means, but just proud of who he is and how humble he stayed throughout, because again, he still fights for the smaller people in the conference as well. He's always fighting for them as well, and not just because he's at the top, but it's what he's always done. But yeah, hats off to Jose and what they've done, man, because again, I just talked to him 2 days ago, and he's still reaching out to try to help everybody in the conference.
Coach, how is Cameron Jones growing in her role throughout the season?
The best thing Cam has done is start to get those experience moments to where she don't have to think through them and she can react and play through them. My thing with Cam is trust your training. She's almost a 4.0 kid, so she wants to dissect everything you say and what happens on the floor. You could be explaining something and Cam is already formulating a question in her mind to be able to ask you before you even get out what we're trying to explain on the floor, because that's just who she is. She's just a kid that analyzes it all. And so now when we start to go through those experiences, she's been through those experiences. Now you don't have to think, you just have to react. And so that's where she is right now. Last game, she was doing some thinking because we were trying to scheme some stuff with Temple with the little quick point guard and make sure we get it out of her hands. And so Cam got to thinking a little bit. And so you saw that in her play. She wasn't as active on the glass, in the paint, or getting deflections and those kind of things because she was thinking. So it's my job to be able to help her understand that you trust your training and have a simple game plan to be able to go out and play, because that's when she's at her best. But those things, she's grown in those moments, and that's why you see the Cam that's kind of getting to where she can really be consistent on and off the ball and on and off the floor this year.
What are some of the keys to beat South Florida this Sunday on the road?
First thing is we have to handle, Jose's going to have a crowd there. They're going to have some energy. They're going to be ready to go. They just came off a tough battle with SMU where they end up winning, on like a last shot or something like that. So again, he's going to have them overly prepared, especially with us coming off a bye week. And he know we're going to be, it's Jose in South Florida for 4 or 5 straight days. That's the first thing. It's just getting over the crowd of the initial punch that they're going to provide. Secondly, we have to make some shots, like I said earlier, because they're going to give us opportunity to be able to do that. I watched some of their non-conference games. The games that they lost is, the games that people made shots on. They played Villanova. Villanova made their first 3 or 4 shots, and Jose and them had to come out of the paint and try to guard. And man, it was a whirlwind for them. So we have to be able to focus down and make shots. We have to execute. Their execution rhythm team, they're going to score, and they're going to be able to, he calls sets based on who he want to attack. He go first set, 6th set, 10th set, and those kids know how to be able to jump and maneuver what he's talking about. I wish that I could be able to coach like that with a team like that, because it's tremendous. But again, I can't, and we can't be somebody that we're not. But they're going to execute, and we have to execute as well and do what we're supposed to do. We can't have, back-to-back breakdowns. That's where they get you. When you come down and you let Sammy get an open 3, and then you come back and Dosey post up in the inside and then get an and 1. Now they on a 6-0 run or a 5-0 run. Now that's when they start. So when you have back-to-back breakdowns, that's when they start to be their best, because they're going to do everything they can to be solid to keep you out of the paint. The third thing we have to do is take advantage of some transition opportunities. They always send 2 and 3 back, so they try to keep you out of transition. But we excel in transition, especially lately. We have to push the basketball and get some early shots up, because Jose wants the game to be where it is. We've been losing to him 54, 51, 56, 53, all that kind of stuff. And we're better when the game is 60 and 70 for us because of pace. So we have to be able to get out and get some shots early and be able to force that pace. If not, they're going to grind on us and be able to keep the game, in the 40s and 50s, keep the possessions down, and we want to be able to push pace. And then we got to do a better opportunity of getting to the free throw line. They don't foul a lot. So we have to be able to force the issue to put them in those situations that compromises their defense or compromise them on the ball, where we're having the opportunity to get into their body and create some opportunity to get to the free throw line. I think if we do that, take care of the basketball, show them some different defenses and different things that we want to do to keep them off balance, I think we can come out of there with a win. But it's going to be a lot of excitement going on. I think LSU and South Carolina play that day, and Super Bowl, and so it's going to be a lot of stuff going on that could be a distraction for your kids. So we have to be able to get them focused on the task at hand, not worry about any of the other stuff. Understand it's February, and like my high school coach and all the college coaches I ever had the opportunity to coach under, you want to be your best in February. When you're playing your best basketball in February, now you're rolling into March and those kind of things. And so I think we're at a good place right now. We got to minimize the distraction and keep going from there.
Coach, kind of just piggybacking on that last comment you just said, heading down the stretch here, you guys are less than a month until the American Athletic Conference postseason tournament starts. What's kind of the main focus for you? What really do you want your team to excel in heading into that American Athletic Conference postseason tournament?
Well, the one thing we started doing here is just talking about March 9th. March 9th is that championship game, and we got to be in that championship game. So everything we do is a process of getting towards March 9th. And we're writing it on everything, and we're talking about it every day. Well, some people are afraid to talk about it because you have your kids looking ahead. We still understand we're going to be where our feet are and understanding the games and the practices that we have until that point. But again, we dropped breadcrumbs last year to get there, and we had a couple wins to get there almost to the semifinals, and now we want to be able to go. We want to pick up those breadcrumbs and be able to get to the kitchen this time and be able to start putting it all together in that championship game on March 9th. But it's all about February. It's all about what we're doing right now, being where your feet are, not being distracted, and again, taking care of business. That accountability of trust, protect, and empower, we want to be able to just ride on it, because again, they trust us, we trust them, meaning our team. We want to be able to empower each other like that and be able to protect each other like that. Anybody get off, start to thinking about something other than that or where our feet are right now, we have accountability rule within each other to be able to bring them back to that same point. Like, be where your feet are right now. But don't forget about March 9th, because it's the ultimate goal to where we want to be.
Coach, is there a chance that the game at Memphis will not be rescheduled?
Chris, I think last I heard it might be a no contest, but then the conference called and said they wanted to play it. I think the conference involved because of the scheduling issues between SMU and UCF, and then us and Memphis and those kind of things. And then what have happened in the past. Last year we had a COVID issue, so we had to play 3 games in 1 week, and we rescheduled our Tulane game. And I don't think SMU ever rescheduled their game with UCF last year. I don't think Tulsa ever rescheduled their game with somebody that was supposed to schedule last year, but I know Memphis rescheduled their game with South Florida last year. So I think they're trying to take away some of that in between stuff, where some people will reschedule and play and some people won't. So they're trying to just have everybody on the same page, which I'm all for, because last year that hurt us. We beat both of those teams that were in front of us, and they end up, because of not playing enough games, or we played more games and lost, but we beat them and they still ended up in front of us. I think we ended up getting 5th or something like that when SMU and somebody else got 3rd and 4th, when we should have been in those spots because we played games or made up games and they didn't. And so I think the conference is trying to take care of that. But I know last I heard that they were trying to, play it on the Tuesday and Thursday where we try to play them. And we're just trying to sit back now and be able to see if that's going to be the case.
That's all I got.
Yes, so do I. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys, man. Because of you guys, we could have an opportunity to have a platform that everybody know who we are and what we're doing. Thank you so much for what you do.
And I'll see you Sunday, Coach.
All right, brother. Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Thanks, everybody.
Safe travels, Chris.
Apologies
You too.
again,
Take care,
everybody.
Fletcher. No problem,
All right.
Fletcher.
Thank you,
Take care,
Andrew. Thank you, Fletcher.